Hi, my name's Eric, and to start off with, we're going to start with my favorite trail system, which is known as Azilda. It's one of the worst kept mountain biking secrets in Sudbury. Nobody knows where this is exactly, but everybody knows how to get here. So this is one of the main trailheads. The camera's actually on the signpost right now. So starting here, this is kind of like the new school side. It was only actually started to be built last year, so 2021. We'll also go and see the old stuff, which is getting close to 15 years old now. And that was started when Valet had a strike, and a bunch of the mountain bikers that worked there, I guess, had nothing better to do, so they built a trail system. So we'll get to showing you everything. I figure we'll start with the old stuff first. The first thing we're going to do is actually show you how to get to this point. And it's kind of a nasty climb, so let's get to that. One of the ways to get to the, I guess, the main trailhead for the new side of the trails starts off with this nasty rock, which is pretty much the first thing you do before you even get a warm-up in. It just blows your legs up. Otherwise, this climb's not too bad. Someone might have to make a switchback or something here, just for the lazier people. So it gets your warm-up out of the way real quick, but that gets you to the new side kind of trailhead. And here's the signpost the camera was on, but we'll get back to these trails later. Now, to get to the older trails, you have to go down to the highway, and we'll be climbing this later to get back up to the new stuff. Pretty techy little descent there. Now you get over here, and the world is completely different. So as you'll see later, the trails on the other side are all about kind of a bike park style. Lots of features, really flowy trails. Here they really made use of the open rocks, so it's really techy, and it's more, I don't know if cross country is the right word for it, because it's probably more difficult than most cross country trails would be, but it's a lot rougher. The climbs are way more difficult. They're probably some of the hardest ones in town, and the descents are much the same. They're very technical. There's a few of them that are pretty flowy. It's like the trail builders just found a bunch of cool rocks to climb and ride down, and then they connected them together. One of the cool things about the trails on this side of the highway is because they're kind of built in the open, other than this entrance, and built on a lot of rock, they dry out a lot sooner than anything else in town. So when the winter's over, you usually get to ride the trails here about a month before anywhere else. Coming up to the fork. This is the main fork. So either side of this is Kona, and normally most people go counterclockwise around it, so we'll do that too. It kind of rides better. There's some nice challenges if you do it backwards though. So a bit of a rock roll to start you off. So here you actually downshift before you go down, because after that chute you don't really have time to shift. You're into a climb. Alright, so this is a climb that I had the hardest time with forever, and then there's kind of an easy line that opened up. The hard line's on the left, which is the original trail. I don't think I can do it, so I'm gonna take the easy line. I probably can, I have done it, but gotta save some energy, because there's a lot of stuff like that here. Really punchy, steep climbs, which are they're usually pretty satisfying when you get them. Here's a fun little section. It's a quick down and up, little rock roll. ass bend, then another climb. So that's kind of the theme here, is you fly down a hill. Sometimes you can't even use your momentum because there's a bend at the bottom. I tend to avoid the trails that do that. I'm looking at you. Intense. Intense is actually pretty fun in one direction, but if you do it the other way, it's horrible. Just horrible. The guy who built it's probably laughing if he's watching this. Yeah, it's been raining a bunch, so there's a lot of mud and puddles where there normally wouldn't be on most trails. You can kind of see the evidence of how exposed this is, though it's already pretty dry in most places. It's just the low spots are still kind of a little muddy. Now we're getting into the what would you call this? The lung buster climb. People that don't have the best fitness usually die out here. And I'm not like trying to shame anybody. It happens to me too at the start of a season. It's just like a long kind of sustained thing. Although here you can kind of take a break, but then you're greeted at the end by one of the steep punchy climbs, just like earlier. This wall of rock, you just go straight up the middle, is the best line. And my legs are on fire now. So, Kona loop, good workout. It's also really good to work on your technical skills. So here's the famous mud hole. Oh boy. That's so bad. Might have to bring a bridge out myself. That's been a bad mud hole forever. And it keeps getting wider and wider and wider because people keep trying to go around it. I wonder if we just piled a bunch of rocks in there. That would probably be good enough. Alright, we're getting closer to Hans Hill. There's this fun little kind of drop off here. And we're not too far anyway, so we'll keep recording. There's I don't know that you call it a theme, but there's definitely a thing on the Kona loop and a lot of the other trails here, and that's people find little side hits and they actually take the time to kind of make them part of the trail. So an example of that's right here. The main line stays high, kind of goes that way. You go straight, or you can do this and do this rock roll. This is pretty gnarly. Technically a shortcut too. I don't know that it would get you any seconds on your Strava attempt, but probably worth a shot. And that brings us to the big main hill. So right here, you're presented with a couple options. If you go right, you have the easy Kona climb. If you go straight, go towards Abracadabra, which is kind of like a shortcut trail. It skips a part of it. Or, before you turn onto that, you go up this guy, which is the difficult Kona climb, which I might not make because I'm kind of cooking right now. Ah! Pedal strike. Let's try that again. All right, this is probably not the best spot to start from. I'm gonna try it anyways. There we go. So that's the hard bit. More about lining up your wheels ahead of time kind of thing. And you get up here and you drop down this thing. Woo. And camera's pointed at the sun, but this is Hans Hill. You got Hans Hill. There's the sign. It's actually a nice sign. You got a couple of flags. And then we got pretty nice view. The real Lion King moment. Anything the light touches is part of your kingdom. Or something like that. I haven't seen that movie in a while. Now from here, there's a few fun little descents. We'll keep going. So here's another little sideline one. That's rough. And then this is really techy. Some more tech. And now to the left is Kona. We'll get to that in a second. But we're gonna do probably the coolest downhill here. It's called Slayer. Slayer. Rain and blood. Oh, that tree branch makes this even more spicy. That's a pretty techy rock roll. If you stay to the left, it's easy because there's actually a rock that goes from top to the bottom. I need to bring a weed whacker out here. Ah, that's a good rough bit. And now there's a bit of a little climb back up to reset. And then there's like a little jump line. I'm not going to do it because then I'm going to have to climb a bunch of stuff again. But it is a fun trail. Instead, I'll show you another one of the many shortcuts here. You just climb a little bit. And then right here, before you start going down again. If you start going down again, you've gone too far. And this brings you right back up. If you follow the shortcut all the way, it actually takes you back to Hans Hill. Or you can turn right and then just continue on Kona, which is what I'm going to do. So this brings you right out here. So you go left to go back up to Hans Hill. You turn right and it just brings you right back to the top of Slayer. Wow, it has gotten leafy in here. All right, downhill, backside of Kona. Some kind of weird jumps. Oh, that's different. I like that. There used to be a really awkward jump there. That's much better. I was bracing myself for the awkward one. Whoa! That was slippery. I almost died. I normally don't brake there. I braked into that a bit and I still almost died. So that's a low spot where the sun doesn't get to. So the dryness of everywhere else kind of, I guess, got into my head. Thought I was safe. Almost paid for it. All right, more punchy climbing. Ah, I usually get that one. I've been taking a dumb line though every time. Let's go back. Let's go back and try it again. So I always stay high and ride this big rock, but I think, yeah, that's way easier. So I make that hard for myself for nothing. All right, time for some fun stuff. There's a couple drops here. I'll stop and take some video for that, just to kind of show it off. But here's the big drop. Kind of shoots you up this hill nicely. So we got a big drop closest to me, and then the rock over there is a little bit smaller. The smaller one's actually really approachable. The big one's pretty sketchy. And it's not sketchy like when you ride it. It looks like a big gap because you have to clear this rock. And then you have to turn once you land. But once you do it once, it's easy to do again. There's a really short descent coming up. Yeah, right here. The other side of this, when it starts going back uphill, would be the perfect spot for a step-up jump. Right here. The bottom of that's a little abrupt right now, but if you were to smooth that out, put a lip on it, it would be a lot of fun. Now I'm suggesting that, but I guess I could come out and do it myself. There's a bit of a tricky climb if you don't know the line. Coming up is the bane of my existence. It's another one of the short punchy climbs. For some reason I only get this one like half the time. Barely got it, but I did it. It counts. The Kona loop is definitely a good place to really hone in on your technical climbing ability. And it is pretty satisfying when you get them, especially the first time. So another thing is, earlier on when I was talking about the different climbs up to Hans Hill, there was that abracadabra loop, which actually, it's a shortcut where you kind of cut the middle of the Kona loop in half. You just ride through the middle, and there's actually quite a few trails off of that. So Kona continues straight here. And then we have Baler, which has two really difficult rocks to climb onto. And here's the first of those. I think meant to go here, so that wasn't too bad. Ugh. Damn it. Well, I made the hard part, and then I got a stupid pedal strike. I messed up the easy part. And now I don't really remember this too much. I think it's just kind of let's try that again. Try a little bit harder gear. Hard gear's not it. We're gonna get this one. So bad line the first time, bad gear the second time. Third time's a charm. Shift back down. There we go. Not over yet though. Oh, this is hard to see. The sun's right in my eyes. Got it. Whew. I'm pretty happy with that. Didn't get it the first try, but I got it eventually. I gotta just actually bother to I gotta actually bother to ride this trail. I'm gonna start this over again too. All right. I'll use momentum here. Momentum is often your friend. I don't even remember this. I know this drops into Kona, which is a really fast section. And we got a little step down jump kind of thing, which is relatively new. I think the rock was always there, but it wasn't so much of a jump. And then there's this kind of rock crawly part that's kind of neat. You gotta duck under that tree. That's a good fun flat-ish section. Here's a neat little descent. It's like a rock roll, but you can kind of drop off of it. I didn't really do it that time because I couldn't see. I was on it before I could react. Ugh. Very janky. All right. So, get off me, caterpillar. So from that way is the other end of Abracadabra that I was mentioning before. And off of this is a trail called Rocky Mountain, which is gnarly. But we'll skip that for today. It's got the steepest climb for sure at one point. I haven't actually made it up that one. I haven't tried it in forever. Someday I might. Nice little side hit rock. Oh, this bridge is even more rickety than before. So now we're just to go back at the initial Kona loop fork. So if the map is right, we've done about 6.5 kilometers. And here we are. There's the map. You can see the blue tape. We're just gonna keep on going. Head back to the highway. And with that, we're out on the highway. So this is the second way to access the new trails. The sort of kind of trailhead from the intro. Now, as you'll see, there's definitely progression in mind with the way some of the trails are built. We're going to start on Portal, which is just a single black diamond and it has a bunch of features, but they're all really safe to roll. So you can kind of warm your way up till you're actually sending them properly. So if you're coming up from the highway, this is back to the start point in the intro. There's the signpost that the camera was on. We can climb up here and there's a few trails already to choose from. So we got Portal over there, which is a single black. It actually has a lot of features that are probably a little scary for a black diamond, but they're all rollable, which is super cool. Starts off with about a 4-foot drop if you send it, or you can roll it. There's a trail here that doesn't have a sign yet, and I think it's going to get changed over the course of the summer, but it's called Holy Grail. And then there's this new trail here called L'Enfant Sauvage. It's really fun, and it's a nice way to kind of finish off your ride too, because it comes down at the bottom of that climb, that nasty wall of a climb. But we're going to start with Portal, or I should say I'm going to continue with Portal. So we got a drop, cool little step down to jump into a shark fin berm, another little wood drop, a couple of berms, another wood drop, and it's been raining a lot, so I'm going to slow down for that one. There are some puddles everywhere here. I'm going to try not to get super wet. So just like the other side, there's not a ton of elevation to play with, but the trail builders definitely made the most of it. So we got a bit of a climb, kind of reset the elevation. We traverse a bit. We'll skip ahead to the next fun bit. All right, here we go. Little jump, step down, tabletop. Gotta avoid some puddles again. That's a short section, but it's a real crowd pleaser. All right, fast forward a bit. This is the second to last climb on this trail. There's a lot of them because it's kind of the main trail that brings you to everything else. It's a portal to everything. That's why it's called Portal, I believe. This section is pretty cool. It's a big rock roll kind of thing into like the easiest step up jump in the world. The features on this trail were all made rollable this year, so they're really easy to approach for even beginners. So it's a great place to learn how to ride these features that you don't really see anywhere else in town too much. Approaching the top now. Got a little sign here that says welcome to Outlook instead of the lookout. Oh, a bit of jank there. They got me this time. All right, so Outlook is kind of has the point where 3 different trails start, all downhills. So we got Starscream's Dream, which was the first one that was here, just a double black, kind of mixed bag of berms and rough stuff, a bit steep, really fun trail. And then down there, you definitely can't see the sign from here, but that's a single black float trail called Emerald Hill Zone. I believe that was a level in one of the old Sonic games, so I think it's a kind of a theme there. And then over to the left we have Apex, which is another double black with some orange around it. It has some pretty big features on it, so definitely one to look at first before you send it. But we'll start with the original trail. Let's go down Starscream's Dream. Kind of a almost a pump track section there. I got steep rock roll into an even steeper rock roll to this crazy catch berm thing. This is a bit muddy. More rough stuff. Really nice berm here. We got a left turn into a little drop down and then a berm that shoots you up the hill. And as I said, not too much elevation to play with here, so short and sweet, but tons of fun while you're doing it. That was what, 20 seconds, 30 seconds? And that brings us to the merge point at the bottom, and then you get onto another climb trail that kind of brings you back up. And this one's called Tax Collector, so you pay your climb tax and it's a collector trail. Good name for it. All right, back up to the Outlook. We'll drop into Apex this time. Little jump. That's definitely like just there because it was possible. It's not as big as, say, this drop. That's a good 5-footer. And then we got a wall ride that you can kind of air off of. It's a little short to really plan that out, but sometimes you get off the end of it in the air. And then somebody put a climb in the middle of a downhill trail. That's okay, it's pretty short. Probably worth it. You get nice rough rock roll to like this really tight twisty thing into one of the gnarlier rock rolls in town, down this weird drop thingy, and then it merges into the bottom of Starscream's Dream and then shoots you back on the Tax Collector. So again, short and sweet, but man, is it ever sweet. Let's skip the climbing bit. All right, time for the easier of the trails to start here, Emerald Hill Zone. So this one's like almost pure flow. Got a bit of rock at the start. We are in Sudbury after all. We got a big berm into a nice step up that you can actually just roll. And then some of the sickest berms in town. And then again, there's a climb in the middle of your downhill trail, but it's a short little punch up. And you ride this bridge down, and then you cross under the pro line, walk in the park. Optional bump jump there. A little bit of a rock drop, berm, and another rollable step up, which actually rides really well. when you're at the top of this climb here that we saw a while ago for Portal, instead of going down to the step up, soon, just straight ahead right here, will be a trail that leads all the way to what they're calling the Anvil. It's just like a big flat rock. And there's going to be a couple of trails starting off of there. So far there's just one, and it's a spicy one. It's called Walk in the Park, which is kind of a joke, I guess, because it's not. It's probably Sudbury's first like kind of legit pro line. So it's got lots of big features and kind of scary stuff, but it's super fun. So we'll go to that next. This one's kind of right off of Tax Collector. You can see some of the huge features. And the first one is this rock drop down to this landing. It's it looks a lot scarier than it actually is. It's actually only about like a 5-foot drop, and then the gap is, I don't know, 7-8 feet. But you do need quite a bit of speed to go into it, and it's just like mind games kind of thing. After a little berm, actually it's kind of a big berm, you come across this jump, which again ends up being like maybe a 5-foot drop down. Similar gap, maybe 10 feet by the time you land. This one's super fun. Never noticed the landing is actually kind of hipped sideways. It doesn't feel like it when you ride it though. From the landing, you just come flying into this hip jump. This again doesn't really, it's not super hippie. It's fun, easy, smooth. And then you come across this. We got a big 6-foot drop. It's all made of wood. You actually have to pedal quite a bit into it. And there's kind of an awkward corner, so maybe this thing will get widened out a bit eventually. And now I'm actually walking on Emerald Hill Zone, the Black Diamond Trail from the top. It crosses underneath it, which is super cool. But the 6-foot drop lands here, and then there's a step up. The rest of the trail isn't done yet, but it will be soon. I'm not going to be riding it today because I'm out here by myself, but I will put in a video that I took a couple weeks ago when I was riding out here with a bunch of people. All right, time for a walk in the park. Very much not so. Yeah! Oh, that's so good. In the other end of Tax Collector now, which brings us to the single black with the orange to signify that it's a free ride trail. So it's got a bunch of features. Single black is all rollable. So you got a little jump, this wood ramp that's so fun, a shark fin, 10-footer, 9-footer, and this weird drop that is kind of bad for people if they're going full speed. I rode off the end of it at trail speed. Mind you, it was a fast trail speed, and landed flat. A little crooked, I guess. Had to correct, hit a tree, broke my brake lever. Good times. I was fine though, so meant I could have an excuse to upgrade the front brake. So now this is, I guess this is technically part of Holy Grail. The trail used to go the other way and just merge with Portal, but now it's the return trail. It's got a super fun step down though that's coming up. You do have to pedal quite a bit just to get the right speed for it. Yeah. Now here, got a bit of a steep climb. I think this is temporary though. But this brings you most of the way back up to the top of Portal. And with that, you end up doing about 2 kilometers when you do like one full lap. If you do a bunch of other laps at the other end and then come back, it's obviously more. So it's not super long, but it's packed with features. Time to show off the newest trail here. which is l'enfer sauvage. So here we go. Overshot that. Another jump onto the rock, another jump onto another rock, step down. This trail's super quick. One drop to a kind of a chunky section, 4-foot rock drop, a little step down. Got a little squirrely there because of the wind. It's a very windy day today. But that brings us to the bottom of the climb trail that we started on. So that marks the end of our look at the Azilda bike park and the Kona loop on the other side. So it's kind of two different worlds in the same spot. You can pick your poison or do both like I just did. I hope you enjoyed this look at the trails, and we'll see you in the next showcase.